This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
This episode is sponsored by...
Shouldn't having conversations with your money be easy? Easier than counting the planets, at least. Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Oh, what happened to Pluto? Did it offend someone? F&M Trust is here to help you have better conversations with your money. Go bank it easy at fmtrust.bank.
Hey everybody, it's episode 128 of Beers in the Lot. If you've heard this show before, you probably know what I'm about to say. Yep, that's right. Check out our merchandise store at beersinthelot.com/shop and join in on the conversation in Discord at beersinthelot.com/discord. So in this episode, the guys and I talked a lot about Bruce Boudreau and the Canucks coaching situation. We also talked about our old fat bald guys hockey league games on Sunday night. And a couple weeks ago, I asked the guys and field reporter Ross to help me move an 800-pound skate sharpener. Whenever all of us get together, it's sure to be a time, so we talked about the fun we had with that. Let's get to it.
What are you drinking tonight, Daniel?
So, from Black Flag Brewing Company, keep the Simcoe, you filthy animal. Hazy IPA. It's got the picture of the guy on it.
Yeah.
What do you got tonight, John?
From Trogs, I have the Double Blizzard IPA.
Solid.
Yeah, nice little winter brouhaha.
It is excellent.
What about you, Riggs? What are you drinking?
I have from Flying Dog, out of their snow-plowed hibernation pack, the smoked maple porter.
Oh,
It is,
that sounds good, actually.
yeah, it's really good. It tastes like maple and a campfire.
Nice. As one might expect with that name.
Yeah, this is really good, actually. So yeah, Aaron, what do you have?
I have, out of New Belgium Brewing, a Fat Tire Amber Ale.
Also good.
Yep.
I used to drink a lot of Fat Tires at Hard Times Happy Hour.
Hard Times local place here in Frederick. Oh yeah.
Well, Hard Times, they shut down, right?
Yeah.
A while
Yeah.
ago.
Before COVID. Yeah, they were gone.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it, yeah, because they always had like good happy hour and stuff. And the
Yeah.
food wasn't that bad, I don't think.
It was I mean, chili joint, right? So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was all right.
They had really good wings.
yes,
Yeah, it did.
the
Mhm.
grilled wings, yes,
Yeah.
yes. But I used to frequent the happy hour with a friend of ours,
You shoot
And-
billiards too?
and we used to no, we would watch people play pool. We'd just sit at the bar and watch people play pool, and then
I would have made that shot.
Yeah, I
we
know.
would-
Yeah, exactly.
we would just dump money into the jukebox, the touch jukebox
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Just dump money in there, but we wouldn't put on stuff that people want to hear. We would put on we'd request Call Me Maybe
Like Harley Ray Jepsen.
like 9 times in a row. Then we'd throw a Slayer tune in, usually Rain and Blood.
Yeah.
We'd throw a Harry Belafonte tune in every, like Deo or whatever.
Yeah.
And like just really, really messed up stuff that nobody wanted to listen to on the bar side of Hard Times, which is a pool hall, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's when we learned that when you go to those places and they have the little touchscreen jukeboxes, the bartenders have remotes for them behind the bar, and they can cancel all of your requests.
Yeah.
So even though we dumped like $20 in, they just, denied all of our requests.
This sounds familiar. This sounds like something that happened one time when I think Daniel and I went to Beef O'Brady's, and somebody at the bar went to the Touch Tunes and requested all of Evanescence's songs off of all of their CDs in succession.
Or at the Polish Falcons when Limp Bizkit was
Well.
played the whole night.
That does sound familiar.
Oh, they gave Johnny Gaudreau a penalty shot. And he missed it. And he missed it.
And he missed
Did you see the Columbus players were booing him at practice?
Yeah, it was awesome.
So they get him ready for tonight?
Yeah. It was awesome. His return to
funny.
Calgary.
Do you think Hull have an easier time of going to Calgary or Matthew Tkachuk? Because Johnny Gaudreau kind of left free agent, and apparently from what it sounded like the whole time, he was like, I kind of want to go east. It's family reasons and a lot of, closer to home, all that stuff, versus Matthew Tkachuk, where the second Johnny Gaudreau left, he's like, trade me now. I don't want to be here. I don't know. I have a little more respect for Johnny Gaudreau in that situation. I get it because they're both like all-star players. So like to some extent, like considering the sports culture with like MLB, NFL, NBA, and you could even say NHL, like the players are really the ones who like dictate some of the, dictate kind of where they get to play. If they say, I don't want to play here, trade me. Owners and general managers really don't have much, say on that. It's not like the old days of Vince Lombardi, where he was like, doesn't matter, you have to play. Like, it doesn't work that way.
I say it a lot. I think like being a pro athlete or a pro hockey player is just like any other job. So if the living situation or, your coworker environment or whatever it is, if it's not the right situation for you, then you're going to want to leave and go somewhere that makes more sense. So
I get it.
Right. Like, I just don't think it's any different other than, they play a game, but
There's only 31 other jobs in the country.
You're right.
Yeah.
Or in the continent.
Yeah.
Speaking of jobs, though.
Oh, what a segue, Aaron.
What a
segue.
Oh, man.
Wow.
That saga up in Vancouver has come to kind of a grisly
I think it's the owner. I think the Francisco Aquilini, he's a ding dong. I think GM Rutherford, I'm serious. Like, you look at back some of the stuff he wanted to say and has said, like, I think he wanted to can Bruce at the end of last season and bring in his own coach and whatnot. And he had to sign him because the owner apparently wanted to, and then they got off to a bad start, and it's painful because you saw some of the stuff like Boudreau said, like a bunch of the players are very emotional and not happy, and it kind of makes sense because some of the guys are not having very good seasons. JT Miller, like, he blows up on his teammates and shit. After last season, he had 99 points. I mean, I think he has 40 or 41 already in like 46 some games. So he's not far off that pace, but he's not
where he was.
Yeah, he's a little behind, and I don't know. I'm sure that leads to like a very, just like Eric was saying, a very weird, awkward work environment. That's not cool too. Like, Boudreau's a decent guy. He took the high road the whole time. He could have bagged that entire team. He could have. He didn't. So I respect him on that.
I mean, as a player, I know I saw one of you guys sent it that like a lot of the players were emotional about him leaving, but at the same time, like if you're a player, like your team's not playing well, wouldn't you want like a new coach to come in there? I mean, I know you could kind of be sad at the same time, but wouldn't you want that change? Because like you guys are dog shit. Like something's got to happen, and the easiest thing to do is get rid of the coach.
Do you think some of the players were crying because they know Rick Tocchet, who's a worse coach than Bruce Boudreau coming in? Do you think part of that?
Gabby's known as a player's coach.
Yeah.
He's also one of the first sort of players that came from the old school eras that embraced the new school scoring is everything, offense first strategies. And if he doesn't get promoted from Hershey to Washington at the time that he did, Ovechkin's path may have been a lot different.
Right.
So he's definitely, he's going to help you score, and he's going to be a player first coach. I think that's
Yeah.
what they're going to miss. And I think when you see the reaction from that, the negative reaction for the players with everything that went on and now him leaving, it's more about maybe they feel like they failed him and cost him his job because they're not performing for whatever reason. So I think that's that reaction. Rick Tocchet does not have a good track record as an NHL head coach. His teams typically are on the wrong side of puck possession and scoring. His teams will defend very well, but they can't score goals. So on a team that has had trouble scoring goals, I don't understand what the point is.
This is the first team he's had with actual like weapons though.
He had Tampa Bay for a couple of years.
He did.
And the year after he was fired, Guy Boucher took them to the Eastern Conference Final.
Exactly.
So
Guy Boucher also did a 1-2-1 in the neutral zone, which is kind of funny. So the defensive coach, they brought in another guy who was more defensive.
But
And they went to the ECF.
And exactly.
Yeah. So let's not get too crazy about now like Rick Tocchet hasn't been an NHL head coach for that many seasons either. Like I think
exactly.
I think it's just over half a dozen seasons maybe that he was an NHL head coach. He's been an assistant all over the place.
Four of those with the Coyotes too.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah, exactly. So like take that.
But
I mean
they the 1 year the last year he was there, they did okay, but they also had, Darcy Kemper having probably his best year. So I don't understand how you can, we talked about it last week. I don't understand how you could string a guy like Boudreau out like that for months, for months.
Yeah.
And then turn around and contact Elliot Friedman from Rogers Sportsnet insider, Elliot Friedman, and tell him it's his fault that they fired Bruce Boudreau.
Oh God.
Yeah, and apparently, because I was digging into some of that a little bit, because I'm such a dork. There's been, dating back to the Winter Classic, they were at least talking to him. They met with him a little after the Winter Classic, so that means they were probably talking to him back in December. They had to be. So, like, to me, I'm like, I don't like that. I think that's scummy. That's really just like I think that's the owner and the team, just like the owner had a plan. It was very poorly laid out and they just couldn't do it. And that was the other thing too, because the press conference where they introduced Rick, Rutherford said that he's going to step away in terms of like microphone and press conference time and let Patrick Alvin kind of deal with it. And I think that's because I think Jim feels a little bad. And I think he was maybe saying some of that stuff to like kind of speed this process along, because like, this is just my opinion, like knowing what I know about him when he was in Carolina and then when he was in Pittsburgh, if he doesn't like something, he changes it. Like he doesn't, he's patient to some extent, but like if he feels a change is needed, he believes in that and he goes through with it. He doesn't do this song and dance. That's not him. So that the whole situation is very strange in general. Like, I think there's a lot we don't know about too, like internally how that team works. And they even let go of their assistants, and they brought in Adam Foote and Sergei Gonchar. Like, get the hell out of here.
Brought two future Hall of Famers, defensemen, right? Two future Hall of Fame defensemen in to a team that can't score goals.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, into kind of, I mean,
seems so backwards.
And these guys are guys without like proven track record. So like, you're going to trust some of the development of some of these kids they have there.
Gonchar, yes.
I'm fine with Gonchar to some extent, but like, yeah, I'm fine with him. But like Adam Foote, I'm kind of meh. And I'm kind of like, you want these kids to like develop appropriately, and are these really the right guys? I don't know. I mean, 100%, I really don't. Maybe, hypothetically, they turn stuff around, and then you have half of the fan base that's like, oh, we want him to tank. Well, the only way you can really ensure a tank job if your coach is trying to win games is you start stripping pieces away. They don't want to sign Bo Horvat. Get it done. Just peel that Band-Aid.
Move him. Yeah.
And I'm willing to bet with what they've said already, like, he doesn't care probably where he goes to some extent. So, like, if you get a somewhat decent return package and he's okay with it, send him. And if Pettersson is really the only guy you're, like, 100% safe with keeping, between Brock and Quinn Hughes and Demko and, some of the other guys, go. I don't get it. Ugh.
Yeah, naming off these players, it doesn't seem like any of these players should go. Like they have a team.
It's a decent team.
It's a decent team on paper. There's something in that room, and kind of what Eric was saying. Maybe sometimes you show up, you don't like your coworkers, you don't like the way it gels in the room, and yes, winning cures a lot of that. Like I bet if they were the other side of the standings, maybe a lot of the stuff goes differently. So the only thing that's interesting about the whole ownership and management group is they don't want to go over for Bo Horvat because they think what he's doing this year is kind of like an aberration because it's a contract year. They did the exact same thing for JT Miller last year. JT Miller had like 20 some points over his career high last year. They signed him, didn't even blink an eye. But Bo Horvat, who's your captain, who was drafted and developed in that system, they're like, I think that's a little much. I don't know. I think that's not really his ceiling. I don't know. Maybe it's fake. I don't know. Icky.
Yeah, there's something up. That's a shame. It's a real shame, the whole situation out there.
Bruce will be back on TV, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He already has offers from Sportsnet and TSN. He could take Rick Tocchet's spot on TNT and be better than him anyway. I didn't think Rick Tocchet had anything.
Like to replace the entire TNT broadcast.
Also, I didn't like that TNT broadcast it was like last week I was watching it, and like some of the guys on there were like really grilling them on like, tell us about Vancouver and stuff. I'm like, that's not right
that's
either.
Inappropriate. Yeah.
I think that's wrong either, because my problem with that is like Gretzky was a coach. Rick Tocchet was a coach who's been fired and been an assistant.
Yeah.
Like, so he kind of knows like, hey, like they're all part of a coaching fraternity. That's not a good look.
Yeah.
That's not a good look. I get part of it. Like they want ratings and they want him to say something sensational, but like maybe backstage or something, kind of ask him on the down low and then just don't say anything. Just, just keep it to yourself. So, it was just, it's grimy. It's not good. I don't like that.
So going back to firing Boudreau and firing NHL head coaches in general, I tend to go look at their team's goalie stats because in general, goalies underperform. The teams are 500 or worse, and there's expectations, and then coach gets fired. So if you go look at the Canucks goalies, Spencer Martin, who's played the majority of the games, sits at a .893 save percentage. Demko's at a .909, that's decent, but he's only played 15 games. And Delia, who's only played 9 games, is at a .910. 910, 909, anything in that area, you're going to win some games. You should win some games. But the bulk of those games, you're getting .893 out of your goaltender. Not a good sign, and probably is an indicator of other issues, or you're getting fired because you weren't getting goaltending. And it's unfair, but yeah, the NHL's unfair, hockey's unfair, whatever.
Life's not fair.
Right, exactly. So, but I always go look at that because I think there's a trend where teams underperform in goaltending, particularly in save percentage, because it's really the only individual number that we have for goaltenders, and then coaches get fired.
Makes sense to me. But yeah, it's a crappy situation up there. Hopefully they figure it out. Whatever path they take to get back into contention is hopefully it gets them where they need to be.
Quick intermission break while we get a word in from our sponsors.
Shouldn't having conversations with your money be easy? Certainly easier than spelling conscientious right on the first try. CONSH. Nope. SI. SC? Oh, that C's moonlighting as an H. F&M Trust is here to help you have better conversations with your money. Our investment and trust services team can help make your retirement dreams a reality. Go bank it easy at fmtrust.bank. Let's check the British spelling.
Anything interesting happening in our games?
I was going to say that when we were watching, our game was the first game, and we finished early. We finished, in the middle of the second, I guess, for the late game, the West Coast start. So we came over and watched, and it was John's team versus Riggs' team, and it was like watching teams in a different league from the game we just played.
Our game was
so much
slow-mo.
faster, and our game was so slow.
It was kind of funny. Like, multiple people said that last night, and like Eric and I kind of just looked at each other like,
I'm like, what are you talking about?
But if you think about it, like, not in a bad way, like, we did, Riggs and I, our team, like, we did boat race the other two teams. So,
Yes.
so maybe
that's
that's
true.
part of it.
That's true. And then our game
Yeah.
was a 1-goal game. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We were skating. Like, I felt like we were talking on our private channel on Discord today. Like, I felt like we played well, and it was a good game.
It was a very
You
good
know,
game.
Yeah. Like,
It was,
One
it
goal
was fun to
game.
watch,
yeah.
which is hard to do.
I don't know if it was fast.
Well, I mean, we said
I
it's fun to watch. It was raining and cold, so
Yeah, like, let's
yeah.
not.
There was
Yeah.
nothing
we
else
brought
to
our
do.
beers inside.
Right.
And then we weren't wet and cold.
So you're saying there was no paint to dry. That's
Yeah,
the problem.
exactly,
Exactly.
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
There's no grass to watch growing or
Yeah,
paint
you're
to
like-
watch drying.
You're like, oh, it seems so much faster. I'm like, it probably wasn't.
They didn't have the TVs on in the warming area with any NHL games, so
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We did say, like, we did have a lot of whistles, like, not offsides, just like pucks out of play, stoppages, stuff like that. Like, the flow still moved pretty well. Like, it wasn't like one of those nights where you get a lot of whistles and it just feels like it's stop, start, stop.
John,
Like, the play mood.
you and me
What?
playing Wednesday night in another league, and
Oh, yeah.
you said something after like the third face-off in a row when somebody like chipped it up out. You said something about like you guys didn't pay attention when your mic coaches were telling you. What did you say?
Oh.
Because everybody kept chipping it out.
I was so angry because, like, it's like all these guys were just chipping the puck out playing D, and I was like, a lot of you guys
Over
probably
and
didn't
over.
see. I just made the joke, like, skating up the ice against Aaron the other week. I was like, a lot of you guys probably didn't see the ice a lot when you guys were mites because you didn't listen to your coaches and just keeping the damn puck. Like, I'm not joking. Like, it's like, I understand, like,
over and
sometimes
over,
I
yeah.
understand sometimes if you're under like severe duress or like a long shift, like I'm all in favor at that point of just like picking a spot, throwing it up the ice, get a whistle change, like just get yourself out of that situation instead of constantly just coughing up the puck. But like 3 or 4 times in a row, like some dude, I'm like at the point, ready, have no problem. I stick on the ice, and the D's just flinging it down for an ice, and I'm like, who was that to?
There was
What are you
one
doing?
too. Like they dropped the puck, and the defensive team in their defensive zone.
Yeah,
It was clean back to the defenseman
Yep.
down in the corner. And he just throws it over the
Just
glass.
ices it.
winged
Not,
it.
not
just-
even. He threw it over the glass.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
like everybody's there in the zone.
Yeah.
Nobody has moved from the face-off. He's got the puck and he just flings it over the glass.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you doing?
My.
Do you want to
Yeah.
play? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's
Keep it in the
brutal.
goddamn ring.
Yeah. He brought the puck and he's like, I don't want you guys playing anymore. I'm taking it home. Yeah. I just was like, and that Wednesday night skate is fun, but like I say a few things like, cause it's like we play with some youth coaches and some of them make very poor decisions. And I just chuckled myself. And I was like, you guys probably yell at kids for doing the exact same thing you're doing right now. I'm sure it's awesome.
Or even worse.
Yeah.
even
Or even worse.
They teach them to do that.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
Well, to teach them, they would have to be a
Highly
master
likely.
at that. Yeah. They'd have to be able to explain it. And I think some of the things I've seen, they can't explain it. So who knows?
Anyway, though, yeah. Now, when we were watching you guys play, it seemed like it was a pretty good flow. I mean, there was a couple whistles we saw, but it didn't seem like it was anything, out of order or anything. But there was definitely some guy. There's some guys on both your teams. They can really move. They can move the puck. They got wheels. Like there's a couple guys that are quick.
They can move their feet.
They can move their feet. They can move their hands. They can move their sticks.
Aaron knows
what you're
about
supposed
hands.
to do. Oh God, I got a compliment question mark last night. Somebody, it was the captain of our team. He said that I had
he's been on the pod.
Yeah, he's been on the show.
Yeah, it's Pamani. Yeah, he's
been on the show.
Pamani.
Yeah,
he said I had it relayed to me, but then he later told me he mentioned it too. He said, "Aaron, you've got the best worst hands in the league."
Best worst hands.
It's so true. I got to get the green biscuit out again, I guess.
From what I heard, they like changed it, so it's a new green biscuit. So maybe that'll help you.
Yeah, I need to get one of them, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta get the new green biscuit.
Whatever I've been doing hasn't been working.
Aaron's just skating down the ice. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yep. So true.
As I'm bagging on you, I did nothing wrong last night at all.
You scored a goal. You're fine.
I like hearing that, Daniel. That's a respectable game from you.
Yeah, goal, couple assists.
Wow.
It's all in a night.
Look
I actually passed.
You got your cookies.
I did get my cookies.
Look at you.
And we finally we won our first game. So
yeah, we won.
Oh, way to go, gentlemen. Did you guys have a victory song?
I don't think we want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Although the victory song was better. The victory song was better than the music when I came into the locker room.
The dressing, the music.
Yeah, I heard you guys are playing like Mumford and Sons or some bluegrass stuff.
I wish it was Mumford and Sons.
It would have been an improvement.
Jeez, that was brutal. I'm like, I'm supposed to get hyped up to this.
We got for a victory song. We got who is it? Queens of the Stone Age. Go with the Flow or whatever.
Oh, that's a good song.
Yeah, it's all right.
I don't know about
as a victory. It's a good song, but as a victory song, I don't know.
Victory song in the room,
we dictated the flow. We didn't go with the flow.
We had to change ours because last week we had 99 Problems by Jay-Z.
Oh yeah.
Some weren't 100% feeling with vibing with that, so we had to change it, which is totally fine because early enough we can make these changes and adjust early in the season. So I went with Fat Bottom Girls by Queen.
There you go.
I like better.
Yeah.
So
I may bring my speaker next week.
Yeah, you're gonna have
somebody needs to bring a speaker.
You're gonna have to get there pretty early.
Do you want me to bring the Honda Civic
give
in?
you that intel right now.
We need to borrow the Honda Civic, John.
Do you guys need to borrow the Honda Civic? Will you borrow my speaker? Has anyone done anything different lately? Got out of their comfort zone early in the new year? Picked up any new skills, hobbies, etc.?
We did pick up something recently that we haven't talked about, but we might have mentioned it, but I don't know if we actually talked about it. But all four of us literally picked something up a couple weeks ago, something very heavy, and brought it back to my house. We didn't talk about that. We didn't actually talk about this.
We didn't tell the story. That's right. That's right.
So
we bought an ice rink.
We bought an ice rink.
Might as well have it. Weighed as much as a fucking ice rink.
Exactly. Better investment.
So the backstory, the folks in Discord probably have heard about this because I think we've talked about it there maybe a little bit. But the backstory is that forever I have wanted a skate sharpener. And I found one on like a surplus site or something like that. It was somebody nearby. One of the ice rinks was getting rid of theirs and placed a bid on it. And I won the auction. So they told me that had to come pick it up at a certain time. Like, oh, you only have between these 2 weeks or whatever to come pick it up. And they said, "Oh, it weighs 800 pounds." So, so I tapped all of my friends.
That's light work.
I tapped the entire podcast plus field reporter Ross, and we drove down to get it and kind of made an afternoon / evening of it, and brought the trailer down and all these ratchet straps and like we met the ice rink crew at the rink there, and they helped us get it unhooked and all that stuff, and then we had to get these furniture dollies underneath it so we could push it out, roll it out.
I couldn't make it to the first part though.
Yeah, Daniel couldn't make it to the first part, but he did help.
I knew you guys had it.
I think that was strategic on Danny's part. I think he was like, I'm gonna let these idiots do all the hard shit.
Yeah, I pushed my wife. I pushed my wife over so she would hurt her ankle.
Oh, good lord!
Yeah. So I didn't have to go. Yeah, that's exactly. What
Danny accidentally knocked her over when he was posing in front of his Subaru.
We're gonna post that picture too.
It's up. That's already
it's up. We already posted
been up.
Nice.
There's a lot of details that have been left out here, though.
There's a bunch of details.
Keep going.
One very important detail is so John and I rode down together. We rode down together in his truck.
And then Ross and I rode down in the Jeep and trailer. Yeah.
Field reporter Ross and Aaron get down there before us, and then we show up, and we're getting everything, figuring out how we're going to get this thing out of the little office that it's in. It's in like what was that room? Maybe 6x8, maybe.
Yeah, small.
Right. Little room, standard door. Right. So we got to figure out how to work it around in the room and get it out the door and all this stuff. While we're doing this, Johnny's like, we need to start taking parts off the top. So he unscrews like the cover on the one wheel. It has like 4 thumb screws and this cover, and he takes it off and puts it on the little table part. And then we start rocking the 800-pound skate sharpener back and forth to get it up on the dollies, and the thumb screws go everywhere.
Everywhere. And then the joke was, man, so glad we got that cover off. It made it so much easier to move.
Yeah, that 300 grams really made the difference.
Imagine if that was on. You all would have had hernias. You all would have had hernias.
It could have been the straw.
You should be thanking me.
That broke all of our camelbacks or whatever.
Yeah, you should be thanking me. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
And then actually after that, everything was kind of uneventful. Like we get it on the dollies, we roll it out to the trailer, we slide it on the trailer, and now it's time to strap it down. And this is when we're the 3 of us who did not buy the thing kind of decided that we were going to be hands off on strapping it on the trailer.
Fair enough.
So there was no culpability in if the thing like slid off the trailer
we were all in agreement that it probably didn't even need to be strapped down. It's 800 pounds.
Yes.
So it probably wasn't going to move at all. The problem would be is if it did start moving, it would not stop with the vehicle.
That's right.
So
that's right.
It would go into the back of the Jeep, out the back of the trailer. It would be bad. So I wanted to be sure it definitely wasn't going to move. So I strapped it down, but.
And somebody said those famous words.
Yeah, as a county inspector, I made sure it was going to stay.
What did you say?
John did sign off.
Oh, that ain't going to move anywhere.
That's not going anywhere.
He checked the strap and then he slapped it. That's not going anywhere.
That's not going anywhere.
Baby's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it was ready to be shipped.
Yes.
So we did get it back to my place, and then John actually fortuitously also requested a chunk of like rubber flooring from this rink that was basically offloading a bunch of their stuff anyway.
I was ready to like slice a piece if we needed
but you found a really good piece. You found a nice,
really thick
sizable piece. And
he's walking around the place with this like knife like a, I don't know, like Bill Cutting. Like he's walking around with this knife.
He's the
like,
butcher.
like he just wanted to cut something. Like,
I always have like, I have like a big knife thing. I'm really into knives and stuff.
Big knife guy.
I have like a lot of like OTFs and automatics around the house at all times. Like
he
when
had
we were
like
moving,
this,
it was awesome.
he had this thing. It was like hooked
It was a
into
Kydex. It was a
it was
Kydex
hooked into his
sheath.
jeans
And I
pocket.
put
In a holster?
I put it on. Nah, not a
Yes,
holster. It's a
that's
sheath.
what it is. That's what it is. It's like
No.
a
What are you
knife
carrying around a
holster.
K-bar?
No.
Freaking Rambo.
Make it sound like I'm Danny Trejo in Once Upon a Time in Mexican. I'm not that. Like I am.
You're the knife
It was
guy.
it's a Kydex sheath, and I just put it on my belt just for.
But he's like walking around like he's got a 6-shooter on his belt. Like he's walking around and he's
With
like
his hands ready to draw.
You need me to cut something? I'll cut it. You need me to cut something?
You should have cut the straps off the trailer when we got to
Well, that's it from us for episode 128. Thank you for your listen. We appreciate every single listen we get. Be sure to tell your friends and family and teammates about our show if you think they might enjoy it. And have yourself a great week. See you next Wednesday.